Hey guys, welcome back to the Art of Living Well podcast. We are so happy that you have joined us today. And if you are new to the podcast, welcome. And today we want to remind you that our fall detox is coming up. It's right around the corner in September. The dates are September 22nd to the 28th, and we will be putting out some information very shortly on this changed and new liver detox that we're super excited about.
Yeah. So, Marnie, we spent a lot of time together the last couple of days. So,
We
for those of
have.
you who don't know us, we are both in Minnesota. We both live here and we do a lot of our meetings and recordings all via Zoom. So, with this training for 29029, which is something we want to dive into a little bit more today, we spent 4 hours together hiking on Friday at a new park for both of us, Afton State Park, for those of you who live in Minnesota. And we really had a great experience. Like, it's in our backyard, basically 45 minutes away, and neither one of us had ever been there. And then I saw you yesterday with Jordan and we were hiking over at Highlands. So anyway,
Yeah, it's been a lot of
it's been
hiking
fun.
time, a lot of
Yeah.
good quality time. And
Mhm.
if you watch our YouTube channel, which we have, I've noticed that I wear a lot of green and you wear a lot of pink. It's pretty funny. Um, so you
Which
may
I
see
love
that.
green and pink together, by the way. Like,
Yes,
those are
very.
great colors.
They are. But anyway, as a side note, so what is 29029, you may think, because we've been talking about it a ton and it's been all over our Instagram. And if you follow us anywhere or see us in person, because I feel like that's
Yeah.
all I talk about these days, you may wonder what it is. And so it's this event. It's not a race, it's an event that we signed up for last fall. So
Mhm.
this has been coming for about a year now, right? Well, close to a year.
Yeah.
And what it is we are going to a mountain. We're going to Mount Treblanc and we are hiking up the mountain 15 times, which will be the equivalent of 29,029 feet, which is what the height of Everest is.
Yes.
So, wow, like that's crazy, right? I
Yes.
can't
We're
believe we're
hiking the
doing this.
vertical ascent of Everest.
Yes.
And we heard about this event because a lot of people are asking, how did you hear about it? It's also interesting because I've met people that I didn't know before that have heard of this event. So it's really fun. But we interviewed one of the co-founders, Mark Hudelich, about a year and a half ago. And that's what sparked our interest. We started following them on social media. And Marnie and I both love hiking. We both love just being active and being outside. Neither one of us have run a marathon before, really done any significant training for a big endurance event, other than maybe like a half marathon, right? And it just sparked our interest for doing things that we love together in a community. And they've really built this amazing community around bringing an extraordinary experience, that is hiking Everest, which not a lot of people can or even want to do, to more ordinary folks, right? And so they have probably six different events throughout the country, starting in June and ending in October. And ours is in September, right after Labor Day. But they've already done Sun Valley, and they've done Jackson, and then Snow Basin's coming up, and there's one in Whistler, and there's one in Stratton, Vermont. So, it's about like 250 to 300 people. Everyone's kind of asking me, like, how many
I
people
think we
are
have
in your group?
250 on our mountain.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's really crazy because I've had people say, first of all, I have people asking me if I'm climbing Mount Everest. I'm like, no,
Yeah, no.
I'm not. I do not have a death wish. I feel like that could go very, any which way when you're climbing Everest. So no,
Right.
thank you. But and then people will say to me, "Oh, so you won't have to deal with, the weather and all those challenges." No, we will not. We still may have weather though. We could still get some rain and some
Hmm.
cold or some hot. We don't really know what we're in for. But this is still going to be effing hard. Like
Yes.
whether or not we have, the challenges that you have on Everest, it is still a lot of feet that we are climbing. And I think that when I'm doing, we've been going out to the local ski hill, Highland Hills,
Mhm.
and doing loops on the steepest hill out there. And then I see my total, feet that we've climbed. And I'm like, okay, so we did what, 1,500 feet today? And we're going to be doing 29,000 feet. Like that's sinking in,
It
right?
is. It is. And it's interesting because we have these training calls like bi-weekly usually, and there's a whole chat and there's this really great supportive community. And what the coaches and the trainers have been saying is it's fuel. The two things that hold people back from completing, meaning you're getting the red hat. So you get a red hat after you've achieved that 15th ascent, is fueling and mindset. And that's what holds people back more than just the physical preparation of doing the actual training. And Marnie and I have been, in kind of in line with our personalities. We've been following that training program pretty much to a T since we got it. And even before we got it, we were doing some, pre-work, if you will. So for us, we do think that fueling and the mindset piece are really going to be important to us getting that red hat, which is both of our goals.
And the fueling is hard because I'm used to when I work out, I don't usually eat, right? Like,
Mm-mm.
and sometimes I was even doing like intermittent fasting. So I would be fasting, for 14 or 16 hours. I do my workout in the morning, shower, whatever, and I may not eat something till 10, 11 o'clock. Well, on this training plan, that is
Yeah.
not possible. And in fact, I've had to change, I'm adding more carbs and more fats.
Mhm.
And Stephanie and I have both been trying all these different products because while we're hiking for that long, we need to fuel what every hour and a half or something, a certain
Mhm.
number of calories, because otherwise we don't want to bonk, which is a
Right.
word I had never heard of before going through this experience.
Well, exactly. And, I for the most part, on the average day, I wasn't working out for more than 60 minutes. So you didn't need to eat while you were working out. But now we're doing these longer hikes. And it's not that our heart rate is getting up higher, if anything. And that's something we've talked a little bit about earlier on, is like staying in that zone 2 where you can have a conversation and you can do the activity for a long time, but you're in that fat burning zone. And it's really important to be fueling during that time and making sure that your body gets used to digesting food while you're working out. So they say, like, you test all your gear, but also test all your nutrition and make sure that you can handle it. Because the last thing you want is to be trying some new food that you've never had before that maybe has more sugar than you're used to eating on the mountain and then realize that your stomach is not agreeing with you. I
Totally.
don't I don't want to be that person.
And I
Um,
have to say, I've like loved all of this along the way. Like this journey has been so much fun. And I've learned so much about like fueling and mindset and gear and zone 2 training. And I know we're going to try and bring someone on to talk about that in more detail, the zone training. But, I'm reading books and talking to people, and the whole experience has been so amazing. I think I'm going to be really sad when it's over.
I well, I've already kind of thought about that, but we're not gonna go there because we're just enjoying the
No,
moment.
we're
But
enjoying the
some of the things
moment.
that I've really enjoyed about the food, and maybe this is because of like our own individual health journeys, I did give up gluten and dairy for the most part many, many years ago and eating a lower carb diet, not strictly following any diet, but definitely compared to most people eating much lower carb diet. And now I'm like really enjoying those bananas in my smoothies again. And having more grains and having more carbs and seeing that I need those. And my body is actually like craving those. Like I found really good gluten-free bread that are like local and very, I don't know, just very tasty, honestly, and been eating that a lot more. And like Marty and I had a peanut butter, we each made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches
It was
for our
so
hike. I
delicious.
can't tell you, like I've made a million peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for my kids over the years, but I haven't had one in like, I don't know, 10, 12 years.
And I used to eat
So
them every day when I was a kid,
yeah,
like literally every single day. So it was lovely having
nostalgic
one.
too, right?
Yes.
Um, and we both tried different products, and we'll let you know how we like them. But like I've tried goos and gels and different squeezy things, and we ordered these cool waffles that are from like a Montana local small company that are these protein waffles that we just ordered. So we'll let you know how we like those.
Yeah,
Um,
so that's all been really fun. I mean,
really fun.
and the gear, like I feel like there's gear showing up at my house every day and I keep telling
Yes.
myself like, okay, I wasn't planning on buying all this stuff, but I'm actually using it. And I know that moving forward, this is going to be a part of my life. So it's not
Right.
like one and done. So,
Because the number of shoes I've purchased
yes, but
is
we'll
kind of a
use
lot.
them, right?
But we'll
Like we
use
have a,
them
yes, we'll
100%.
use the shoes and, the poles. I was kind of like, poles are fine. I love my hiking poles and I
Yeah.
can't imagine hiking uphill without them now. I'm so
Right.
used to them and I love how it uses your arms and your core and you're not just working your legs when you
Right.
use the poles.
Hmm.
We both bought weighted vests,
Yeah.
which is something I swore I would not do. And I haven't used mine yet. My husband's used it a few times, but hopefully
Well,
I'll try it.
so
I'm a little scared.
I know mine arrived yesterday and I was like, I forgot about it. And I picked up the box. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is heavy. And I think we both maybe bought a little bit heavier of a vest that we
Then
maybe
we
should
should have.
have based on just looking on Amazon. And I clicked, it was Prime Day sale. So I had to buy it. So I bought 16 pounds, Marnie, you bought 20. And I think maybe for walking around the neighborhood is how I'm going to use my vest.
Yep. And I
Just to
and
get a
I've
little
also,
extra.
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking I was going to hike up the hill with it. Although when we're out at Highlands, we see plenty of people doing that with
Mhm.
the vests and they're rucking with the backpacks. And I mean, it's a whole world that is new to me now that I had no idea existed. And it's pretty cool. Um,
And that's one thing I think we've both been really excited about is just meeting different people through this community. So, like,
mhm.
Marnie, you connected with a bunch of women through our app that we have for the actual event who live in Minnesota. And we were texting with them, and I met one of the women, and we went on a hike together one day. She's climbing a different mountain before us. And that has been cool. Even just seeing similar people hiking at Highlands.
Mhm.
I started talking to these older women who are like in their mid to probably late 60s, and they're there hiking a couple days a week in the morning, and they're so inspiring. And I told them that. Said, you guys are so inspiring. Like, that's what I want to be still doing with my girlfriends when in 10 or 15 years or 20, even longer, right? So it's like this underground, but not really, group of people that just sort of come out of the woodwork because we are doing something different. We're doing something outside of our comfort zone. We're connecting with people on Facebook groups, right?
Yeah. And it's like, people say to me, why are you doing this? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel this pull to do this. And it's
Mhm.
because I love it. It's fun and I'm inspired on a daily basis by people and by so many different things. And it's going to be really hard. Like, I'm not kidding myself. I know it's going to be hard. But I also I'm
Mhm.
excited to do hard. Like, why not?
Yes.
Right?
And I think for me, I mean, very similar. It's like I have not done a big endurance event before. And sometimes we tell ourselves, oh, that's not for me, right? Like, oh, I can't run a marathon. I can't do a triathlon. I've always told myself because I can't swim. So I've always put these roadblocks up for these big events when other people are doing them, including my sister who has ran quite a few marathons. And I feel like this is one experience that I feel the most, I don't want to say confident necessarily, but just excited about the journey. And also like, I can do this. Like, I just keep telling myself that I can do this and I
I
am an
will do
athlete.
this.
I
I
will do
will
this.
do this, Stephanie.
I will, not I can. I will. You're right. And I think the community that they have built, I'm really excited about that. Like, everyone is just so encouraging and positive and collaborative, and it's not a competitive environment. It's really about helping everyone along the way. And there's going to be parts along that 15 ascent journey that we're going to take that we're going to be feeling down or tired or discouraged, and others are, and we're all going to lift each other up along the way. And that's what I'm really excited about.
I agree. And so I'm headed out west. My brother lives out west, and I'm headed out there to do some training on a mountain because I feel like I need to train in an environment that's going to mimic what we're doing a little better. And so I've reached out to people, to strangers from this community and being like, will you hike with me? Where should I go? Will you come join me? Like random people that I just have never been in that position before. And like people respond and they're like, well, I can do this or I can't do this, but you should do this.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, and if I have to hike alone, that'll be a good challenge. And I'm okay with that. So
Yes.
it's just, I'm really outside of my box. And that's what I
Mhm.
love about this.
Yeah. And it's funny because even the last couple days, I've met people through friends of friends, and they're like, I'll go to Highlands with you. And then all of a sudden, there are these group of women yesterday that were there, and the three of them had never gone there before. But it's like you put this idea in people's head, and then they realize, like, oh, I can do this too. Like, I'll join you for your training because they're really getting something out of it as well. It's not just about like us, and
Right.
they're supporting us, but then they're also feeling really good about themselves. And Marnie, similar to you, was really trying to get out west and hike at a real mountain with elevation to train. And it wasn't going to work for lots of reasons. And finally, I was like, maybe I can go somewhere up north in Minnesota. And I was reaching out to a bunch of friends and my sister, and no one could make it work. And I ran into someone who I know who's like the mom of one of my son's friends who I hadn't seen in a while. And she joined me one time for hiking up at Highlands. And then I reached out to her and I was just like, any chance you can get away. She works full time. She's got 3 kids, and she's going to join me up north for a day, like an all day hike
On the
up
Superior Hiking
on the
Trail, which is
Superior Hiking Trail, which I've
amazing.
never been.
It's
Um,
amazing.
yeah. So, it's just, you have to put yourself out there, and like something that you have really taught and I guess reassured me is like, you have to ask. If you don't ask, you're not going to get what you want, right? You have to ask. And so you just like put yourself out there and ask people. And like for the most part, as you've seen, everyone is so like willing and helpful to contribute and share their knowledge and join you if they can. So,
And you don't have to do 29029 to get this
no.
experience. Like you can go to your local ski hill. We even found, Stephanie found this actually and told me about it. Women's hiking groups for the Minnesota. Like I think it's like women who hike in Minnesota or
Yeah.
something. Facebook group. And we both joined and I've asked questions in there. She's asked questions in there. If I wanted to, I could be like, who wants to hike with me today? And I
Yeah.
guarantee you somebody would say yes. So wherever you live, if you're interested in getting more involved in the hiking world or in something
Mhm.
that you're interested in, look for the Facebook group or just start talking to people and asking around because there is a community out there for you.
No, absolutely. And the thing about hiking is that you can really do it at any age, at any speed, and you're outside, and it's been these beautiful mornings. And so to just start your day this way, totally disconnected. Like when I'm hiking, I don't want to even really plug in and have a
Mhm.
lot of noise, whether it's podcasts or books or anything like that, because there's just something about taking in your natural surroundings, and the energy of the other people that are out there that's really cool and
Yeah, and you
powerful.
have good conversations too. Like we
Yes.
we were telling each other about our weddings. Like that's
Yes.
so random.
I
Like
mean, for 4 hours, we had like a
right.
plethora of topics to talk about.
So I do think hiking brings you it makes you one with nature. And if you're with someone, you go to a deeper level that maybe you wouldn't do if you're at a happy hour or you have distractions with, like you said, the cell phones or whatever it is.
Yep.
So highly recommend it.
Yes, absolutely. Um,
That's it, right? When you're listening to
yeah,
this episode, we're going to be 3 weeks out.
yes. So send us your good wishes, I guess,
Yeah,
and we'll
we would
keep you
love to hear
posted.
from you.
Yeah, and we are also kind of starting to think about our experience and how do we bring our experience on a smaller scale to our community. And I think initially it's the community in Minnesota because we're physically here, but we've just seen such transformation and such just like the learning and I think the growth for both of us, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally that we've had from doing these hikes. And we see what others are doing when we are hiking. And how do we bring some of this hiking community to our Art of Living Well community? So please, please, one, if you're here and you want to join us for a morning hike sometime over at Highlands, or even we'll probably end up going to Afton again or one of these other local parks, let us know and let us know what your thoughts are on, creating this initially local community of women hikers, or not even just women, anyone,
Anybody. Yep.
anyone.
And yeah, we would love to have you join us when we don't always go together either. So
No.
feel free to reach out. A lot of it is hill work, but it's really challenging and fun.
Yes. Yeah.
And have a great day, everybody.
Yeah. Bye-bye.